So all I can do is see if I can get everybody at the table and get an agreement. And I think we're going to end up with an agreement. Otherwise, I wouldn't probably be even here today.
So some people are saying, especially the news commentators, that Trump and Vance knew exactly what they were going to do. They wanted to make Zelensky. They wanted to ambush him. I don't see that at all. I watched the whole thing, and my thoughts on it, I haven't seen anybody articulate it quite like this. So I watched the whole thing from front to back. Didn't know what was going to happen. I could tell from the beginning that Zelensky was irritable. Like the way he answered, his posture, the way he said things to the president.
Sorry, I'm sorry.
Yes, go ahead, please.
If I can just, yes, in the document there is one.
I really believe this deal is going to be over. Yeah, please go ahead. Go ahead.
You had Macron and Keir Starmer at the White House this past week.
I don't think you're going to need much security. I think once this deal gets done, it's over. Russia's not going to want to go back, and nobody's going to want to go back.
I can answer. Yes, if I can answer.
Please,
sorry. Please. Please.
And I do like your clothing, by the way.
Yeah, really?
Even though I have to.
It was obvious Trump was in there. He wanted to kind of have a nice, cool little press conference, be cool to Zelensky, not talk bad about Putin, because how is he going to talk bad about Putin and then get Putin to come sign a deal?
You want me to say really terrible things about Putin and then say, "Hi, Vladimir, how are we doing on the deal?" That doesn't work that way.
Like, he's got to play both sides. But Zelensky, it was clear that, just by his demeanor, he was irritable.
Sorry, just a second.
I'm thinking, man, this guy, Trump's saying we need to sign this deal. It'll be the first steps into ending this war. He says he wants peace, but Zelensky is saying, no, this deal really means nothing, because unless troops are in Ukraine, Russia's not going to care about this little piece of paper. He's done this many times, breaking deals.
And about just ceasefire. We can't just speak about ceasefire and speak and speak. It will not work. Just ceasefire will never work, because I'm like a president. I have this experience, and not only me. Ukraine before my presidency, from the 2014, Putin broken 25 times. 25 times he broken his own signature. 25 times he broken ceasefire.
But he never broke to me. He never broke.
No, you were the president. You were this document, maybe other documents. It's a very good start, very good, but it will not enough to stop this person.
Should Russia commit to rebuild Ukraine?
Well, Trump doesn't want to commit to that. He doesn't want to have U.S. troops in Ukraine. Just like Iraq, he was against the war in Iraq, and he doesn't want to get in the same type of quagmire over in Ukraine. He doesn't want to get involved. He wants a quick ceasefire, and then we'll go from there. Well, Zelensky is not having it, and I'm thinking as I'm watching this, why would Zelensky even get to this point in front of the press if he is not happy with the deal? Because you could tell he wasn't. Now, Trump, he's a tough guy. He wants to project a strong image of America to the rest of the world, and he is a strong guy. But, he was taking a back seat. He was letting Zelensky run his mouth a little bit. Okay, whatever. I don't really like what you're saying. I noticed that Trump knew, what's going on. Like, I could tell in Trump's head, like, man, this guy, he's off the rails a little bit. But I just feel like Trump knew, if I can just get him to sign this, we'll go forward.
There are a lot of cities that are not recognizable. There's not a building standing.
No.
And a lot of things have to happen.
You have to come and to look. No. We have very good cities. Yes, a lot of things have been destroyed, but mostly cities alive, and people work, and children go to school. Sometimes it's very difficult. Sometimes closer to front line, children have to go to underground schools or online, but we live. Ukraine is fighting and Ukraine lives. This is very important. And maybe it's Putin is sharing this information that he destroyed us. He lost 700,000 people, 700,000 soldiers. He lost everything. Yes. So,
Mr. President,
forward. But Zelensky, like Vance said, wanted to litigate the deals of this in front of the media. You need to do this behind closed doors. So this is where it starts to get a little dicey. Me as a Trump fan, I'm watching this like, man, Zelensky's kind of going a little off here. He seems irritated, agitated, and Trump is giving him a pass. Well, finally, one of the last questions in the whole press conference came from a Polish reporter. Vance answered it, and Zelensky didn't like it. Vance was starting to stick up for the president, talking about, yeah, you know, we can beat our chest and act tough, but, you know, what Biden didn't do, try diplomacy, and this is what we're doing to save the country. Well, Zelensky, he was irritated. And then when Zelensky started to go at Vance, that's when Trump's ears really perked up.
What makes America a good country is America engaging in diplomacy. That's what President Trump is doing.
Can I ask you?
Sure.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay. So, what kind of diplomacy, JD, you are speaking about? What do you mean?
I'm talking about the kind of diplomacy that's going to end the destruction of your country.
Yes, but if you
Mr.
are
President,
not
Mr. President, with respect, I think it's disrespectful for you to come into the Oval Office and try to litigate this in front of the American media.
Vance was, I believe, sticking up for Trump, like a lot of us were when we were watching it. Like, what's your deal? Why are you going to try to litigate this in front of the media? Are you trying to make a spectacle, a show? If we want to talk about this, we need to talk about this and have this worked out behind closed doors. You know, we see what you're doing and we don't appreciate it. You need to be thankful for the strongest country in the world to try to come to your defense and cause a ceasefire to save millions of lives. Well, I can tell Trump you didn't like Zelensky's tone and demeanor, and definitely going at Vance, who I believe was trying to defend the president because he just had enough. He was watching for long enough. So that's when Trump got involved and started to protect Vance, started to defend Vance. You know, when Zelensky was like, you know, oh, just because you speak loud doesn't mean you're right. And Trump's like, no, he's not speaking loud. And that's when Trump let loose. And Trump like, okay, this is my green light to get in here and say what I'm really thinking, because, you know, you've taken this to another level and I'm going to finish it.
Please, you think that if you will speak very loudly about the war, you
He's
can...
not speaking loudly. He's not speaking loudly. Your country's in big trouble.
Can I
Wait a
answer?
minute. No,
Can
you've
I
done a lot
answer?
of talking. Don't tell us what we're going to feel. We're trying to solve a problem. Don't tell us what we're going to feel. You're right now not in a very good position. You've allowed yourself to be in a very bad position, and he happens to be right about it.
From the very beginning of the war.
You're not in a good position. You don't have the
cards.
cards right now. With us, you start having
Not playing
cards.
cards.
Right now, you don't.
I'm very
You're playing
serious,
cards.
Mr. President.
You're
I'm
playing
very
cards.
serious.
You're
I'm
gambling
the
with the
president
lives
in
of
war.
millions of people.
You think-
You're gambling with World War III.
what do you
You're
speak about?
gambling with
What do you
World
speak
War
about?
III. And
Yeah.
what you're doing is very disrespectful to the country, this country.
I'm
That's
with
back
all
to
respect to
you.
your
Far
country.
more than a lot of people said
very
they
respect.
should have.
Finish it. And the reason why I got so heated there was because Zelensky wouldn't let Trump speak and finish his sentences, so Trump started to speak louder to dominate the situation. You could tell, like you could even tell that Trump was pushing back at Zelensky, you know, with his hand on his left shoulder. And I think that this wasn't planned. If it was planned, it was planned by Zelensky, and Trump finally had enough, and the straw that broke the camel's back, so to speak, was when Zelensky wanted a one-on-one with Vance, and then Trump's like, I'm not having it. So it was clear to me that that's what happened, but you know, people want to spin it different ways. That's just my thoughts.
The problem is, I've empowered you to be a tough guy. And I don't think you'd be a tough guy without the United States. And your people are very brave. But you're either going to make a deal or we're out. And if we're out, you'll fight it out. I don't think it's going to be pretty, but you'll fight it out. But you don't have the cards. But once we sign that deal, you're in a much better position. But you're not acting at all thankful. And that's not a nice thing. I'll be honest, that's not a nice thing.